Hi! So after making my video about Unreal Engine, a friend of mine tried to convince me to learn Godot, which is an open source game engine that's been getting quite popular recently. And I was a bit skeptical at first, but when I finally tried it, oh my god. I began by following this tutorial by Brekis, which my friend also suggested. I already know this channel, so I knew it was gonna be good. After installing the engine, I opened it up for the first time and I immediately noticed how lightweight it is. It's the complete opposite of Unreal Engine, and even Unity. Godot opens in less than 10 seconds, which is insane. I could watch the entire Shrek movie before Unity even opens. And then there's no clutter, no complex UI, just you and a blank canvas, ready to be painted. So yeah, great first impression. I started watching the video and learning the basics. Godot uses something called nodes to organize your game's assets. It's very similar to the game objects and prefabs in Unity. I made a simple 2D character and placed some tiles for it to stand on. In less than 30 minutes, I had the player moving around the scene. Nice! I also added moving platforms and some coins. Then I built the rest of the level by placing some tiles and platforms around in a basic layout. I then made a simple enemy that moves back and forth and uses raycasts to detect when he collides with a wall. The player also dies when he falls off the level or touches an enemy, like usual. And after adding sound effects and a bit more work, I finished my very first Godot game. Now this is fun and all, but this game is in 2D, and 2 dimensions are for pussies. Ha 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 ha. Oh, so I decided to make a 3D game too, but not without learning how to code a bit more. Okay, I'll admit, the tutorial was a bit basic, but it was nice to learn a bit more about GDScript, which is the main language Godot uses. And this was one of the things I was most excited about, because in Godot, you can program inside the engine. You don't need to install something else at all. So f*** you, Windows Terminal. Wait. So it all comes built in, and there are a few advantages to that. First, well, it's just more convenient. If you want to select the script of a node, you just find the node in the tree, press this little symbol right here, and boom, you can edit the script and you can still see your nodes on the left. And also, if you want to reference a node, you just click and drag it onto the script, and there you go. Godot automatically creates a variable that you can use in your code. Meanwhile, in Unity, I have to go back and forth between my game and Visual Studio like a freaking maniac. Now I think it's time to add another dimension. I was thinking of following another tutorial by Brekis, but I decided to choose this one by GDQuest. He made a shooter game and I like shooters. So I created a new project called My First 3D Game, which is alive by the way, and started making the player movement. I made a jump, I added gravity, and since this will be a shooter game, I made a gun that you can shoot by pressing the mouse button. I made the cooldown very generous so the game doesn't become too easy. Oh shit, didn't realize we were in America, the land of freedom! Oh, and by the way, I spent some time making a simple level to run around in. This works pretty much exactly like Unity. Then it was time to add an enemy, and it was quite easy to choose, since the only thing I have is this bat. Man, this is hard! The bat model already came with a tutorial. This was just meant for us to learn how to animate it and how to make the damage effect. The animation was already made, I just needed to add the damage effect by changing the bat's color and increasing the size a little bit. And now you can hurt the bat to your heart's content. Come here, little bastard. Oh, bro went out to look for some better RAM prices, am I right? Then I worked on this mob spawner that floats in the air and spawns mobs. The name is pretty self-explanatory. The spawner has these UFO-like waves and this fun text that loops around the screen. I don't know, it just looks cool. And after testing it in-game, I think I spawned too many of them. And no, I don't know why they're spinning. I also added a score text that increases when an enemy dies. Finally, for some final touches, I added a cartoon cloud that appears when enemies spawn or die, and some simple sound effects. And after exporting the game, I tried it again. I mean, it's okay I guess, but am I the only one who thinks these sound effects are annoying as heck? I don't like it, but I'll change them later. My goal for this project was to remake another shooter game I made a few years ago called Companion, but this time in 3D. So in order to do that, I need to add a couple more things. Firstly, the guy in the tutorial didn't add an health bar to the game, and so the enemies were just supposed to push you off the edge, which is comically hard to happen. so I wanted them to deal damage to the player as well. I made a simple UI for the health bar and wrote the script so that if an enemy touches you, your health starts depleting, and this also stacks when multiple enemies surround you. Second, I made some enemy variants similar to the ones in my other game. I made this shorter green bat that has 2 health instead of 3 and that moves faster. And then there's little chunky boy which has 6 health and moves much slower. This already adds some nice variety to the game, which is something that was severely lacking. One thing that's been annoying me since the beginning is that the gun shoots bullets from the right side of the screen, so they don't come out centered, which makes it hard to target the enemies. I decided to place the gun at the center of the screen, which does look a little goofy, but at least now it's much easier to shoot. I also grabbed some free sound effects online and added those in, to replace the ones from earlier that were destroying my eardrums. Now the final thing that's left is to add the AI companion, since that was the theme of my other game. So I reused the same gun model and made it so that it always follows a point that's on the left of the player. That was quite easy to do. Why is everything spinning again? Then I made the AI shoot bullets, and I actually f***ed up the code here because after shooting one single bullet, instead of killing the enemies, the gun just kills itself. Like, nah bro, I'm out of here. But that was an easy fix. And now you have a little guy that helps you shoot the enemies. The fire rate was way too high at first, he was just completely annihilating those bats. But after tweaking it a bit, it was much more balanced. And the game is done. I'll leave it playing in the background. It's pretty basic, I think it has even less features than the one I made in Unreal, but it was never meant to be a big project, so that's fine. And I'll admit, after everything I tried, I had way more fun doing this game in Godot. Everything is just so convenient and simplified. I really recommend you trying Godot if you're wanting to learn game development. I actually had a bit of a crisis after making this. I was questioning whether or not I should switch to Godot permanently, but unfortunately it just doesn't have the same capabilities as Unity or Unreal for 3D games, yet. But I'll definitely keep an eye on it. Thanks for watching, and next time I'll learn to code a game in Chinese. Nah, I'm just kidding, I think I'm done with these challenges.